impact is concerned. So even though you may have problems with rodents, that's actually not a standard, so we can't really say a significant impact because there is no standard for that. So that's why it's.
Well, standard, just the breadth of our government, you know, the Division of Dam Safety, they have a standard, they have to control the roads, and anyway, it goes on and on, you know, I just wanted to fill that out, interesting how these things tie together. And then if you go to page 61, you know, we're talking about the noise element. I was pretty sure we have a right to form ordinance, and that wasn't identified in there. Page 72. Well, it goes back to the very long public utility districts. They talk about almost 1,300 connections are served. I mean, is that still right? I mean, that seems awful high.
Actually, that was based on their master plan, so that number I pulled directly out of there, so.
Does it actually have?
Well, that's what their master plan said. I don't know how many they actually have, but we have to go by, like I said, whatever the current information available is. So their master plan said 1,342 or whatever it was. That's the number we have to identify in an initial study, so.
We wish it were.
And I could add some information with that there. Huron Public Utility District Facility Plan Update, completed by Shaw Engineering, actually quotes that number specifically.
So now I know it's wrong.
But when you think of, don't they serve the federal prison? And when
Yes.
you think of the number of units in the prison that each inmate is accessing,
I don't know
that
if that's
probably,
master
that
plan or
probably
not.
accounts for
1,700 of them.
yeah, 3/4 or more of those connections. Yeah,
And the other
you
thing-
can ask the sheriff about sewer connections in prison. I'm sure they have a lot of grinders too.
You know, the other thing that was missing out, you know, talk about the housing element, you know, to make sure, it's just silly to me that we even have to waste our time reading it and putting this together, because Lassen County is never gonna be squeezing out the low income people, because I mean, that's all that lives here, but, you know, you look at how many new houses were built in the last 2-3 years since they imposed the new overhead sprinkler systems? No more houses are being built. And
You're
that's-
not,
and
this
that's
is
not even-
if you're looking for an argument, I'm on your side,
That's why I
Supervisor
just-
Alba.
That's why I just hate this.
This is my second journey through this odyssey, so you're not gonna get a dissenting opinion
It's
from
silly,
me.
it's lame, and, you know, I made my comments.
Anybody else on the board have any questions? Anybody from the public have any questions on this application? Seeing none, is there any new correspondence, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Anybody wish to support this proposal?
No, I'll make the motion to accept the housing element.
Well, let me finish.
Oh, it's executive.
Anybody wish to speak against the housing element? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the closed public session at 10:15 and come back to the board. Now, Tom,
Okay, I make the motion to accept the housing element.
do you have a second?
I'll second it, and I just want to state on your comment, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I'm glad to see that we have a negative declaration, because there was a time when the state required us to have full-blown environmental impact reports, which were used or designed to be used to justify their policies, and EIRs are supposed to be prepared by those who set the policy, and we were successful about 30 years ago flipping that and having, you know, doing a categorical exemption and requiring the state to do their own EIR, and they didn't like that. So the fact that they've kind of backed off and are accepting the negative declaration as a justification for their policies, I think is a major step forward.
Okay. Any more discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, would you call the board?
Supervisor Chapman?
Aye.
Supervisor Alba?
This has to be a 4/5 vote.
No.
No.
Resolution.
Supervisor Hammond?
Aye.
And Supervisor Pyle?
All right.
I think
Okay.
I think the minutes should reflect that Mr. Hall was the only past planning commissioner serving on the board. Pretty bad when the ex-planning commissioner doesn't support.
And I voted no on it back then, too.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
He's been consistent.
Thank you, Maury.
Thank you.
I voted no on it many times is in the past, but it's much better now.
Next, we're gonna go to something good. Glenn, are you here? We're gonna, I guess we need to pass a proclamation. We have to adopt a proclamation for Glenn.
I would move that we adopt the proclamation, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
He was here earlier, I saw him out in the hallway, John just went looking for him.
Where did Glenn take off?
Did you run him out of here?
He was here.
He was here, but I guess that's one of the privileges of being retired. You can do anything you damn well please, as long as it's legal.
That's where you go. Well, he is coming back, I
I
hope.
hope so. I'm John Wilczynski, I'm on the board of directors, and I don't know what happened to him. He was here, but then he disappeared.
Was there a fire?
He,
Pardon?
Just wondering if there was a fire.
Oh, no, he's retired. He wouldn't go to it.
he heard the discussion on the housing element and decided to split.
That was enough.
So,
I want Glenn here to read this proclamation, then you can speak.
Okay.
Unless you want to speak first?
No, go ahead and read it in his absence, I guess.
Well, I'm not gonna read it till Glenn gets here.
There.
Okay.
Had to go through the sheriff for it.
Yeah.
Come on in, Glenn.
Is it? It's morning.
We have to send the sheriff after you? Okay. Everybody knows Glenn, so we're gonna see it. Come up here so we can get in the camera and all that stuff. Don't act so thrilled. You all know Glenn Hodgson, so we don't need the introductions. And this proclamation is in honor of Glenn on his retirement as the fire chief of the Susan River Fire District. Glenn began his firefighting career in 1962, where he worked for the U.S. Forest Service on the Mendocino, Modoc, and Lassen National Forests. In 1966, he joined the U.S. Army and served 2 years in Vietnam before returning to his career in the Forest Service from 1974 to 1979. He was the Eagle Lake District Fire Management Officer, and in 1999, he retired from the Forest Service after 30 years of service. If any of this isn't true, stop me. Glenn became a Susan River volunteer firefighter in 1974 and became the fire chief in 1994. He served in that position until he retired at the end of 2013. And whereas Glenn oversaw a tremendous change in the Susan River Fire Protection District during his tenure as fire chief. When he joined the fire district, there was only one fire station and 2 fire engines, one which wasn't running. During his tenure as chief, the fire station on Richmond Road was built by volunteers, followed by a new station built at Lovett Lake in 2006. Plans were approved to construct a 7,000 square foot fire station in Johnsonville. And through Glenn's watchful eye on the purse strings, the district now has 10 pieces of firefighting equipment providing service over a large area in the valley. Congratulations, Glenn, to your accomplishments and your service and your retirement. Here.
Thank you.
I think Glenn or Glenn, John. I know you had something to say, I'm sure some of you have.
Just a few words. I'm John Wilczynski, I'm with the Susan River Fire District, and been there a couple of years, and as I said earlier, when you're retired, you can do what you want to, and Glenn's been doing that. He's been on several cruises that he's postponed through the years because his dedication to the fire district excelled. It was excellent. And on behalf of the other board members, I definitely want to thank Glenn for the service he has provided, not only to our fire board, to our fire volunteers, but to all the residents of the Susan River Fire District. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, John. Anybody else want to speak? Okay, thank you, Glenn. Again, it's our pleasure to stay involved.
Well,
I know Glenn has made many trips to my ranch. Well, yeah, not at all. Thank you, guys. 10:25, recess 5 minutes.
You're a good girl. You can buy me a chair.